populations and events. So I'm going to go through each one of those separately in the next few minutes to show you what's on those bars. Oh, Evan. Yes, we can zoom it up. Let's see. There you go.
You said you had a laser pointer?
I do have a laser pointer. But the web people can't see the laser pointer, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. But yeah, so we have network resources here. I'll go through each one of those separately here. Okay, so this is the network resources page. It describes the database. There's a link. Each one of these red things is a link, right? So if you click on the documentation of analysis data sets, I can't do that here because this is just a slide, that will take you to a description of the documentation. And you can go directly to the raw data contents file if you want. So you don't even have to go through all this other stuff. You just go right to the data content file. This also describes the structure of the network, as I said before. Oops. Whoop. Let me see if I can. Somehow I'll do it this way. This is about the study. It basically is a summary of what I just told you in 45 minutes. You can also get directly to the database documentation and the biorepository from this site. And you can go to the publications section from this site. This is the data contents. You can then link to find the evaluation schedule, the analysis data content, the data set details, the raw data contents again, and a description of what the study visits look like, right? So I gave you a little schedule. It will actually give you the details of what happened on what day, what data were collected, and you can actually get to the case report forms from this site as well. So if you want the details of what actually was collected by the individual on such and such a day, you can get that through this site. This describes a biorepository. There's a listing of what's available. I have a better slide for you here, which I want to talk about for a minute because there are questions about this. Okay. Let me just say out front, there was a unfortunate, Bruce is here, right? Yep. So there was an unfortunate occurrence with Bruce Crystal's study where samples were sent at 2 different time points collected under 2 different conditions. I want to say out front that the current biorepository has samples that are only collected at all time points under exactly the same conditions. Okay? So we have 10 mils of serum in aliquots. We have 4 mils of serum, or plasma, I think, serum, collected at each data point during the OGTT. So this is a 2-hour OGTT, so we have baseline, 3, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, and 120-minute sample. Yes?
Are there baseline samples that are not treated with hotbox? My
Yes.
understanding is, because when I asked that specifically, I was told there were not.
Well, there are, yes. We have 9 mils of plasma in aliquots. We have EDTA plasma, and we have 1 mil of citrated plasma. We have whole blood. We have RNA extracted from whole blood. 2 PAX gene tubes were devoted to that. That's about 6 micrograms of RNA at each of the 3 time points in individuals. 3 time points being baseline, 12 months, and 24 months. We also have whole DNA, DNA extracted from whole blood, EDTA tubes that are available. I can't remember the quantities, but it's substantial. We have urine without additive and urine with boric acid. So boric acid is a preservative, but it sometimes interferes with analysis. So we have both available for individuals. Now, we have skeletal muscle biopsies in up to 445 individuals of the 188 finishers collected at baseline, but like only 30 at 12 months and maybe 20 at 24 months. So it falls off with time. This was a voluntary activity for the subjects, so we didn't collect it in all individuals. And the similar for adipose tissue with slightly less numbers. Let me stop. Yes, Ross.
Presumably it's going to be easy enough to go in and find out what age those people were, which intervention they were on. Does it form a group that could be used?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, so let me say, if you want to do subgroup analyses, et cetera, the person that you're going to have to work with us on that, right? These are not available off the website. You can't just order them up. You have to work with us, so you have to make a proposal. Manju is our study statistician. Manju I think she sleeps with the database in her head. She knows it implicitly, so you can work with us to develop.
I'm not thinking for personal use.
Yeah, right. Right.
Stick with my Rhesus pieces.
Yeah.
But I was thinking just along the lines of what the Baltimore longitudinal study has done with their Gestalt group.
Yes.
That, you might want to extra protect the people who have the specimens from the people who've contributed skeletal muscle, if they're the same people who also have adipose. And so that, those specimens from those people wouldn't go out to the general masses, because you've got potential for a multi-tissue analysis from those individuals. And if they formed a nice little group, you might be able to do some hardcore molecular analysis across tissues within the study. So I would flag those specimens of urine and plasma and ODTT that came
as
from
being
those
the core
individuals,
group.
because you've got a nice little nest.
Yeah. Okay. This is where this says, I got to make it big again. Okay, this is the apply for samples and data analysis. I think that's pretty obvious what is. So what you have available there are an ongoing projects tab, so you can look and see what we've already approved and what people are doing. You can access the guidelines for sample access and secondary analysis. You can access the biorepository. We will keep up to date what the contents are. There's a guide for using a public access database where you don't actually, it'll help you even if you didn't want to elicit our help, and how applications for specialized use of the data and access statistical support. Now here's protocols and procedures. This is where the details are. So if you want the MOPS, and you want the protocol, and you want access to the case report forms, which are actually annotated, you can spend a lot of time annotating the case report forms, which tells you what the heading is in the database according to what the element is in that case report form. So you can really get into detail here about what the database are if you want. I find it much easier just to ask Manju. Here are manuscripts planned or in preparation, and then publications. So here are as an example. So this link will take you directly to the primary outcome paper, for example, and all the papers are listed by date here. Here is the events. So announced here is our workshop, for example, and future workshops and events will be announced here. And that's basically the database that's available at this site. And that's an overview. And we're available to help you. There are links to how to get us on each of the pages. So I'll stop for questions. I've run a little over, but hopefully that's been useful information. Questions? Okay. Yes, Kim.
There was one in the back of the room here who wants to remain silent. I was just wondering, for the samples that are listed on the, so when you say that there's a sample size of, let's say, 30 or 178 or whatever your sample size is, can we assume that that's going to be in a 2-to-1 ratio, like the groups were allocated, or how?
There was no selective sampling. In other words, there should be no bias in sampling. So if you're accessing 30 muscle samples, it's probably going to be 2-to-1, but we can guarantee that when you make the application.
Yeah, can't people decide how many they want of each one anyway? I mean,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a fixed.
Yeah, I was just, mainly asking for, power
Yes.
analysis. And so,
That, if
yeah.
doing a power calculation, I would assume that, yes, it's
That's
2-to-1.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might not be exactly that, but it's going to be roughly that.
I was going to ask, I saw a publication about salivary cortisol. Do you have any saliva remaining?